Did you just throw that at me? Maya asked, her voice shaking as a lump of mashed potato slid down her apron. The whole cafe went quiet for a heartbeat. Forks stopped clinking, the milk steamer hissed a long sigh, and every eye turned toward Table 7, where a tall blonde teen in a designer hoodie sat with 3 friends and his mother. The boy smirked, leaning back in his chair like this was a show. A dirty fork lay on the floor by Maya's sneaker, white potato smeared across the clean black and white tile. A glob still clung to the front of her uniform, dripping slow. Relax, the teen said, loud enough for everyone to hear. It was a joke. You can handle a little food, right? You're the waitress. His friends snickered, one of them covering his mouth like that made it better. Maya could feel heat rushing up her neck into her face. Her dark skin hid some of the flush, but anyone could see the way her hands trembled as she grabbed a napkin from her apron to wipe the mess. She had taken way worse from people before, comments about her hair, her skin, her attitude when she was just tired, but no one had ever straight up thrown food at her like she was some TV clown. She swallowed hard, blinking back the sting in her eyes, because tears in front of rich kids in brand-name sneakers was not going to happen today. That's not funny, she said quietly. Please don't throw anything at me. At the next table, an older black woman sucked her teeth. Lord, she muttered, shaking her head. At the counter, the barista Leo froze with a latte in his hand, his tattooed knuckles going white around the cup. Near the window, a little boy in a Spider-Man t-shirt stared, wide-eyed, watching the ugly moment like it was a car crash she couldn't turn away from. The teen rolled his eyes. Relax, it's not that deep, he said. My bad, okay? But he didn't sound sorry. He sounded bored. He flicked his fingers toward the floor like she was supposed to understand his little half-shrug as an apology. You can clean it up. That's like your job. Maya glanced at the woman sitting next to him, the mother. She guessed from the same sharp cheekbones and pale eyes. The woman was dressed in a soft gray suit, phone in hand, screen glowing with some important email. She had been talking into a small headset when the potato flew. Now she just stared down at her screen, not looking at Maya, not looking at her son, like if she ignored it, the whole thing would go away. A cold, familiar feeling settled in Maya's stomach. She knew what came next. Nothing would happen. Like always. She bent down on one knee, her bad one, the one that still hurt from the delivery job injury last year, and reached for the fork on the sticky tile. As she did, she heard the woman's cool voice slide into the air, still talking to whoever was on the call. No, our kids don't act like that, the woman said. We raise them better. And Maya wondered, for the first time that shift, if that was really true. By the time Maya got back to the kitchen, the mashed potatoes had dried in a stiff patch across her middle, pulling at the fabric every time she moved. She grabbed a clean towel from the shelf and ran it under warm water, scrubbing at the stain. Like maybe if she rubbed hard enough, she could erase the whole thing. Leo came in behind her, dropping a basket of dishes into the sink with more force than needed. You good? He asked, voice low, because if you're not, I will happily go throw this fork back at that kid's head. She let out a small, humorless laugh. I'm fine, she said, the old lie coming easy. She had said those same 2 words at her mom's funeral. At the urgent care, when the doctor told her she needed 3 weeks off her feet. At the bank, when they said she didn't qualify for a loan. It's just potatoes. I've had worse. Leo shook his head, his brown curls bouncing under his beanie. Nah, he said. That was more than potatoes. That was, I don't even know what that was. Disrespect. He glanced back through the small window above the sink. You want me to get Carla? At least get that kid kicked out. Maya sighed, pressing the wet cloth harder against the stain. Carla's gonna say they're regulars, and we need their money, she said. She'd heard the script before. Smile, Maya, that's the job. She mimicked their manager's high voice in a way that made Leo snort, then look guilty. Still not right? He muttered, His mom just sat there. At the word mom, something twisted in Maya's chest. She thought of her own mother, gone. 3 years now, who had cleaned houses by day and worked the night shift at the old diner on 63rd. If Maya or her brother had ever thrown food at someone serving them, they would have seen the back of their mom's hand so fast, their teeth would rattle. Respect was not a game in their house. It was a rule as solid as rent and prayer. Carla poked her head through the swinging door, blonde bob swinging. Maya hun, table 7's asking for extra napkins and a refill, she chirped. Then she saw the stain. Oh my gosh, what happened to you? Your favorite kid happened, Leo said before Maya could stop him. He threw his food at her. That's what, Carla's smile faltered. Chase, she asked, eyes widening. Oh, I'm sure he didn't mean he meant to throw it, Leo cut in. I watched him. We all did. Carla flushed, glancing back toward the dining room where Chase's laugh floated above the clatter of cups. His mom is important, she said in a rush. She owns half the buildings on this block. If she gets mad at us, Mr. Patel will lose his lease. Look, I'll talk to him, maybe. Can you just bring them the napkins, Maya, and wipe the floor by their table? We don't want anyone slipping. There it was, the script. Maya swallowed the sharp words burning in her throat. She thought of the rent due next week, of her little brother's basketball fee, of the tiny hospital bill still taped to her fridge. Sure, she said, voice flat. I'll handle it. She grabbed a stack of napkins, smoothed her apron as best she could, and pushed back through the door into the bright hum of the cafe. As she walked toward table 7, her limp a little more pronounced from kneeling, she caught Chase watching a video on his phone, his friends laughing. His mother was still on her call, voice calm, businesslike. We value respect, she was saying to someone on the other end. Maya couldn't help wondering who she meant by we. Maya leaned down to wipe the small smear of potato from the floor. By the table, careful not to bump anyone's expensive sneakers. As she did, a woman at the next table, the older black lady, spoke up. Baby, you don't have to let him treat you like that, she said, her tone gentle but firm. That's somebody's child, but you somebody's child too. Maya forced a small smile. Thank you, ma'am, she murmured. I need the job. The lady's gaze moved past her to the mother at table 7, still talking into her headset. So do a lot of us, she said. Doesn't mean we forget we got a spine. Her words sat on Maya's shoulders like a hand. As Maya stood, napkins in hand, Chase's friend, a boy with a sharp jaw and a private school logo on his polo, nudged him. Dude, you got her good, he whispered, not quite as low as he thought. If I threw food like that at my mom's lady, I'd be dead. They all snorted. Maya blinked. Your mom's lady? Her eyes flicked to Chase's mother again. She was wrapping up her call now, nodding, saying, yeah, I'll be at the board meeting by 3. Tell them we'll move forward on the youth center plan. She tapped the headset and pulled it off, finally looking up. For a second, her eyes met Maya's. There was something in that look sharp, searching, almost like recognition that made Maya's breath catch. But then the woman turned to her son. Chase, she said, voice smooth as glass. What did you just do? Chase rolled his eyes again. Nothing, Mom, he said. It was a joke. She's fine, right? He glanced at Maya, like daring her to say otherwise. His tone turned mocking sweet. You're fine, aren't you? Maya opened her mouth, then closed it. The old habit tried to take over. Yes, I'm fine. It's okay. But the older lady's words, you somebody's child, too, bounced around in her chest, knocking into memories of her mom, of late nights at their kitchen table, when her fingers ached from filling out job applications. Her jaw tightened. No, she said, the word small, but solid. I'm not fine. You threw food at me. It was disrespectful. Her hands shook, but she didn't look away. People are not trash cans. I serve you, but I'm not yours to play with. The cafe seemed to exhale as one. Someone at the counter muttered, "Say that." Leo froze mid-pour, latte art half done. Carla peeked out from behind the pastry case, eyes huge. Chase snorted. "Oh my God, it was mashed potatoes, not acid," he said. "Chill. Mom, tell her to relax. We come here all the time. Mr. Patel loves us. He said so himself." His mother didn't answer right away. She kept her gaze on Maya, studying her like she was trying to place where she'd seen her before. Then, she looked around, really looked, at the cafe, at the staring faces, at the smear on Maya's apron and the tight set of her shoulders. Something hardened in her features. "Stand up," she said quietly to her son. He frowned. "What?" "Stand up." Her voice didn't rise, but it got a new edge, one that made even Leo glance over. This was not the lazy, polite mom voice they'd heard ordering oat milk lattes 3 times a week. This was something else. Chase huffed, but pushed his chair back with a scrape. "You're being weird," he muttered. "Are we leaving? 'Cause I still want a muffin." His mother stood too. She was not a tall woman, but something about the way she straightened her back made her seem bigger. She turned to Maya. "I saw what he did," she said. "I heard you. I'm sorry." She paused, and the next words came out slow, surprising everyone, maybe even herself. "And I need to tell you something I've never told him." Chase frowned, glancing between his mom and the waitress like he'd walked into the middle of a movie and didn't know the plot. "Mom, can you not do this here?" he said. She gave him a look that could have cut glass. "You did it here," she said. "You thought it was okay to humiliate a woman in front of a whole room. You can handle being uncomfortable in front of the same people." She turned back to Maya, her face softer now. "Your name tag says Maya," she said. "Maya what?" Maya blinked, thrown. "Johnson," she said slowly. "Maya Johnson?" The woman let out a breath, like a puzzle piece had just clicked. "I knew it," she murmured. Then louder, for everyone, "Maya Johnson, Southside Youth Center. The girl who runs the after-school homework club and the Saturday breakfast." Maya's mouth dropped open. "How do you know that?" she asked. Leo blurted out, "You volunteer at the youth center." At the same time Chase said, "Wait, what breakfast?" The woman smiled, a sad sort of smile. "I know, because I read every report that comes out of that center," she said. "My company funds it. The Carter Family Fund. We pay the light bill, the books, the eggs you scramble on Saturdays for kids who don't get real breakfast at home." She looked at her son, and her eyes were suddenly wet. "We talk all the time about giving back, Chase. We go to galas where people clap for our work. And today you threw food at the woman who is actually doing the work." A low wow moved through the tables like a breeze. The older black woman at the next table nodded slowly. "Look at God," she whispered. Chase stared at his mother like she'd grown another head. "She's that girl," he said, "the one in your emails. I thought you were talking about some program person, like an adult." "She is an adult," his mother snapped. "She works here all day, and then she goes there and hands out cereal and helps kids with math, including your little cousin last year when he almost failed." She turned back to Maya. "The director has been begging me to meet you," said. "You need to see this young woman, Lauren. She's what you say you want your money to do. I was supposed to come by the center, but my schedule got crazy, so we picked this place instead. Funny how life works." Maya's head spun. She thought of Miss Carla at the center, talking about some rich lady on the board who might come visit. She had pictured a cold, far-off woman who shook hands and left. Not the latte mom at table 7, not the one whose kid had just treated her like trash. You came here to meet me?" Maya asked, dazed. "Lauren, because now," Maya remembered her name from the brochures. Lauren Carter nodded. "Yes," she said simply. "To talk about a scholarship. The fund has a new program, full ride to state, for someone who's working in volunteering and still keeping their grades up. She gave a small, wry laugh. I thought I'd be walking in here to surprise you with it, make your day. Instead, she looked at the mashed potato stain and shook her head. Instead, my own son tried to grind you into the floor. The cafe buzzed with whispered shock. A woman by the window covered her mouth. One of Chase's friends sank deeper into his chair, clearly wishing he could disappear. Chase himself had gone pale. A scholarship, he blurted, latching on to the least painful part. For her. Lauren turned to him slowly. Do you hear yourself? She asked. For her, like she's less than you? When she's the one doing more with less than you've ever had to. Yes, Chase. For her, her gaze sharpened. And now we're going to see what you're going to do about how you acted. Maya's heart beat so loud she could feel it in her ears. A scholarship. The word lit up a part of her that had been dim for years. Ever since she'd dropped out of community college to work full-time after her mom's stroke. Full ride. 2 states sounded like something from a movie, not from a cafe shift with mashed potatoes on her shirt. But the joy that wanted to rise tangled hard with anger and hurt. She stood still, caught between wanting to cry and wanting to walk out. Chase shoved his hands into his pockets. Shoulders hunched like a scolded little boy, but there was still a streak of teenage pride in his voice. I said I was sorry, he mumbled. It was just a joke. Lauren's eyes flashed. You didn't say you were sorry, she said. You said, my bad, like you'd bumped a table. And you said she should clean it up because it's her job. You didn't see a person. You saw a prop in your little story. She looked around at the room, at the watching faces. We can't fix what we don't name. That's ugly. And it's on me too. You learned it somewhere. Maya took a breath. Mrs. Carter, she said, the title tasting strange after watching this woman ignore her minutes before. Look, I don't want to be part of some show. I get that you're mad, but I also know people get real brave with speeches, and then nothing changes. I've seen that at the center. Kids come here, rich folks talk, clap, go home to the same empty fridge. She met Lauren's eyes. Not rude, just honest. Your son threw food at me. He thinks people like me are here to catch his mess. I don't know what one speech is gonna do about that. Lauren nodded slowly, like the words hurt but were fair. You're right, she said. One speech won't do it. She turned to Chase. So here's what we're going to do. He tensed. Mom, first, she said, not looking away. You are apologizing. Not the lazy kind, the real kind. She gestured toward Maya. Eyes up. Use your words. Say what you did, and that it was wrong, and why. And you're going to say I'm sorry without any but. Chase shifted from foot to foot, face flushed. He glanced at his friends. One had his head down. The other stared back at him, wide-eyed, like even he knew this mattered. Chase swallowed. I threw food at you, he said, voice low, because I thought it'd be funny, and I talked like you were just some waitress, not a person. That was wrong. The words came out stiff at first, then a little looser. I'm sorry, he added, the real kind this time, not the fake one. Maya watched his face. She had heard enough sorries to know most of them were empty, just noise between bad behavior and the next bad behavior. This one, it had some weight. Not a lot yet, but more than 0. She gave one small nod. Thank you, she said. Saying it doesn't fix it, but it's a start. Lauren wasn't done. Second, she said, you're going to work off what you did. She looked to Carla, who jumped. Ma'am? The manager squeaked. How long is a shift? Lauren asked. 6 hours. Sometimes 8. Chase, Lauren said. You're working here Saturdays for the next 2 months. No pay. Every dollar you would have earned goes to the tip pool for staff. She turned to Carla. If you'll have him. Under Maya's supervision, he'll bust tables, wipe floors, scrub bathrooms, and if he ever disrespects anyone here, you call me, and your car is gone, she added to Chase. So is your phone. So is your allowance. So is everything. The cafe gasped again like a living thing. Chase's eyes bulged. What? No, Mom, you can't. I can, and I am, she said. You think being rich means you're better than the people who serve you. You're going to learn what it feels like to be on the other side of the table. She looked at Maya again. If you're okay with that, you don't owe us this. You don't owe us anything. Maya let out a slow breath. The idea of this boy who had thrown food at her scrubbing the sticky tables she wiped every night had a certain sharp sweetness. But there was also risk. He could make her life harder. He could quit halfway. Still, she thought of the kids at the center, of how different their lives might be if more people like Chase had to see them up close, over sinks and mop buckets. Fine by me, she said, but he listens to me when he's here. I say, wipe that again, he wipes it again. Chase groaned, but something in his shoulders loosened, like deep down, a part of him knew he needed this, even if he hated it. Yes, ma'am, he mumbled, surprising himself with the ma'am. The first Saturday was rough. By noon, Chase's perfect hoodie had a coffee stain. His sneakers were sticky with syrup, and he had learned that carrying a bus tub piled with plates was harder than it looked. Maya watched him from the counter, arms crossed, hiding a small smile every time he bent down to pick up a straw wrapper someone dropped without seeing. Table 3. You missed a spot, she called, pointing to a ring of ketchup under a sugar caddy. He sighed, but went back. This is stupid, he muttered. No one even looks under there. Maya raised an eyebrow. We do, she said, and now you do too. She moved closer, lowering her voice. You know the kids at the center clean up after themselves faster than you do, and they don't get to leave in a BMW when they're done. He snorted, then looked guilty. Okay, he said. I get it. I was a jerk. He wiped harder, shoulders straining. I don't know. My friends act like this, and nobody ever says anything. Maya leaned on the counter beside him. Your friends don't work here, she said. They don't watch their moms take extra shifts so the lights stay on. They don't see Ms. D at the center, trying to stretch one bag of rice for 6 kids. When you never have to think about that, it's easy to think throwing food is funny. She paused. Doesn't make it okay. He glanced at her, really looked this time. You do all that and then you go to school too, he asked. And now, maybe college. The word came out like it belonged to someone else. She nodded. Night classes, she said. Social work. I want to be the lady on the other side of the desk for kids like my little brother. The one who knows what it's like to juggle 3 jobs and still get a C in math. He was quiet for a long moment, wiping the same small space until it shone. My biggest problem last week was my AirPods broke, he said finally. I freaked out about it for an hour. A half laugh, half groan slipped out of him. I feel like an idiot now. Maya shrugged. We all got stuff, she said. It's what you do when you find out someone else's stuff is heavier that matters. She nudged the cloth toward him. Keep wiping. Heavy doesn't clean itself. Over the next week's the cafe got used to the sight of the rich kid bussing tables, while his mother sat in the corner with her laptop, watching. Some regulars tipped extra, just to see him carry the heavier tubs. The older black woman from that first day came in every Sunday, always asking for his section. I like seeing growth with my coffee, she'd say, smiling down at the youth center. Word spread fast. Maya got the scholarship. Kids whispered in the hallways. She kept showing up, even more now, planning how to juggle full-time classes and shifts, and still make space for Saturday breakfasts. Lauren came by one afternoon, wearing jeans instead of a suit, and sat on the tiny chairs in the craft room, listening while kids told her what they wished grown-ups understood. Chase came once too, awkward in his school jacket, and played basketball in the cracked parking lot with boys who didn't care about his last name, only if he could pass. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the tall buildings and the cafe lights glowed warm against the Chicago chill, Maya wiped down the last table of the night. Chase stacked chairs nearby, humming a song from the radio. Lauren paid the check at the counter, then walked over. "Mind if I sit for a minute?" she asked. Maya nodded, dropping into a chair herself, her feet aching in that good, used way. "I wanted to say thank you," Lauren said. "Not just for taking my son in here and not throwing him out on his entitled behind, though you had every right." Her smile was rueful. "For telling me the truth that day. I've been giving money a long time. It felt good. But I wasn't looking close at what was happening right in front of me." She shook her head. "You held up a mirror, and it wasn't pretty. I needed that." Maya looked at her, at the tired lines at the corners of her eyes, at the worry and hope mixed there as she watched her son wipe down a nearby table with far more care than he used to give any chore. "You listened," Maya said simply. "A lot of folks don't." Lauren nodded. "We tell our kids they're rich because of what's in the bank," she said. "I'm trying now to teach mine they're only truly rich if they know how to treat the people serving their food." Months later, when Maya walked across the college stage in her blue gown, a roar rose from the small group of people crammed into the cheap seats. Leah whistled. Carla cried loud. The older black woman from the cafe waved a homemade sign. In the middle of them, Lauren and Chase clapped till their hands hurt, the boy's voice cracking as he yelled, "That's my boss." Because in a world that measures worth in money and names on doors, the real test of who you are is how you treat the hands that bring your plate.